Okay.
Call to order the town board meeting at Lisbon Town Hall Boardroom, Monday, June 13th, 2022, 6:30 p.m.
Supervisor Moonen,
Present.
Supervisor Beal. Here. Supervisor Quinn. Here. Supervisor Plotecker. Here. Administrator Nicholas. Here. And Clerk Capazza to record the minutes.
Thank you. I'll chair until Chairman Austin is here. If we all stand for the pledge of allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, so item agenda 3, citizen comments. Citizens are invited to share their questions, comments, or concerns with the town board. When speaking, citizens should state their name and address for the record and limit their presentation to 3 minutes. We'll start with in-person, Mr. Ed Nelson.
Good evening, members of the board. My name is Ed Nelson. My address is West 270 N 7531 Oakwood Court, Heartland. And for the record, I am a member of the Planning Commission and also of our Park Board. My reference this evening would be under new business, item D, discussion of signage for community park. There are 2 signs that we are looking at. One is in memory of or in honor to John Greighton, who was our former park superintendent. That would be placed at a fountain that is located inside the park near the play area. The other sign is to replace a unfortunately inadequate sign that is at Lake 5 and Oakwood Road that would be better seen by the public since the traffic on Lake 5 Road is increased exponentially. So for Mr. Greighton, this is the proposed sign.
That's in their packet.
And the question was raised by, excuse me, Representative Plotecker, to change, it says in memory of, and I had talked to Mike Lunn this morning or this afternoon, and we were looking at the possibility of saying in honor of, or in talking to just recently, Representative Plotecker, dedicated to. But the sign as you are seeing in the packet is the sign that is currently under consideration to, of course, honor our former park superintendent. The other sign we do not have information on yet. The other thing, which is very positive, I received numerous phone calls today, and I'm proud to tell the board that so far I did received a call from Genesee Aggregate, and they will be sending us a check for $1,000 to be utilized for the signage. And then I received another call from Lanningstone from Hans Dawson, and they will be sending us a check for $2,000 towards the signs. So I have contacted other parties and am in negotiation with them with the understanding that the monies would go to either sign. And of course, we will, through further discussion or planning, we will look at plaques that would go on the signs, recognizing, their contribution. But that's what I have personally managed to negotiate so far, and I'm looking forward to hearing from other entities that I have contacted. And so I'm very proud of the fact, given the economic times we were obviously in, that these entities are willing to give or donate those monies to us. Does anyone on the board have any questions on the signage or anything to that matter?
No, I know.
All right. Thank you for your attention and have
I
a,
thought you were gonna mention the Community Festival.
Oh, geez, talk about falling on your feet, hey? Yes, the community. Thank you. This coming Saturday at Community Park is Community Fest,
Right.
and it will go from 1 to 4. But I'm sure if you show up at 12:30 or 1 o'clock, we could put you to work. So anyway, but again, Community Fest will be at Community Park this coming Saturday, the 18th. And thank you, board members, for your support going back to Egg Extravaganza, Winterfest back in the day when we were able to pull it off, and of course, future Community Fests. Trust me, when you're out there with Egg Fest and it wasn't a very nice day, I really appreciate the fact that many of you did show up. Because, well, you know, it's a Saturday. So, thank you.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you. Anyone else? In-person crowd, have a comment? Check the Zoom.
If anyone on Zoom would like to participate in citizen comment, please use the raise hand function.
Second call.
No hands raised on Zoom.
All right, hearing no other, we'll move on to item 4. That's consent agenda. Items listed under the consent agenda are considered in one motion unless a town board member requests that an item be removed for separate consideration. Items A, B, and C, May 23rd, 2022 minutes. B, appoint Kelly Dennison to Parks Committee for a 3-year term ending in 6/30/25. And C, reappoint Ed Nelson to Plan Commission for a 1-year term ending 5/30/2023. Does anyone like anything removed?
Mm-mm.
Is there any other motion to approve?
I make a motion, we approve A, B, and C on the agenda.
Motion made by Linda for approval of all.
I'll second.
Seconded. And any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 4-0.
Ron again.
5, accounts payable. A, authorized payments of Falls Auditor Parts in the amount of $1,000, $1,005.02. Make a motion to approve $1,005.02 to Falls Auto Parts.
I second.
Motion Williams, second Deal. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carried. Item B, authorized payment of remaining bills in the amount of $282,441.20.
Our top 5 expenses were Waste Management, $68,416.74. Kunkel Engineering for $44,125.75. Ewald Chevrolet Buick, $42,218.50. Premier Building Inspections, $33,881.62. And Municipal Law and Litigation, $14,079.80. I ask for your approval.
I make a motion, we approve as presented.
Motion made by Field. A second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? 4-0. Item 6, announcements and correspondence. Sanitary Sewer District Number 1 Commission will meet Wednesday, June 15th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. here at Tony. Parks Committee, Monday, June 20th, 2022, 6:30 p.m. at the Rich Young Fire Station. Next town board will be Monday, June 27th, 6:30 p.m. Town Hall. Planning Commission, Thursday, July 7th, 6:30 p.m. Richard Young Fire Station. And I'll add one, Community Fest, 6/18 this Saturday, 1 to 4 p.m. Community Park. Anyone else have any announcements?
Do we
Yes,
need to-
We have,
Oh, Becky?
I was just gonna add, we have a special town board meeting
I
on
was gonna add that.
June 15th at 2 PM.
Mhm. 2? Oh, I thought you said 2:30. 2, okay.
We have a tentative public safety committee meeting on the 29th of June. At 6:30 here at the town hall.
Recap those special town board meetings, 6:15 at 2 PM, town hall, and public safety, 6:29, 6:30 PM, town hall. Any others? Moving on, item 7, administrative report.
All right, so you have in front of you a non-compliance, updated non-compliance report. We have 2 that are cited, 3 that are closed, and 1 that you'll be talking about for a possible extension today. Met with a developer on a Highway 164 development and also on Business Park East property. Our URL of lisbonwi.gov has been approved. Our vendor's been working to make the change for the website. As for the emails, we currently have a reduced rate with Google for the emails, which saves us about $2,500 if we wait till May to not, to keep our current emails and not change them over to lisbonwi.gov. I suggest that my thoughts were that we would wait until after the April 23 election, and then when we create new emails, if we do at that point, we would change them to the lisbonwi.gov email. I attended the WMCA conference, summer conference last week in Lake Geneva. The closing for TDC, it's the 24 acres in Lisbon's Business Park East, will be moved to August if you accept the changes tonight. Started requesting the 2023 budget information from contracted employees, reviewed the contracts to see what ends in December 22. Also asked the contracted employers for estimates on specific projects such as codification review for Lisbon Code after incorporation. The newsletter has gone out. Natasha did another nice job. Joan has retired. We have sent out a press release for Pizza Ranch. We received good press in the Journal and the Freeman, and also the Patch. In addition, Polyak Trucking had a nice write-up, and some information on Business Park East was also had an article in the Milwaukee Journal. We set up our teams meetings for the summer months, and our first team meeting is June 29th. At this meeting, the fire department is going to be teaching all the staff CPR. The fire department received a donation of $15,500 from a gentleman's trust for the ambulance services he had received from our department while he lived in the area. The fire department will bring something forward during capital project requests when we start the budget process, and the money is being deposited in the donation fund. We completed one public records request, received another with no contact information, so we're unable to respond. We're working on sewer pack amendment for 2 properties that were approved in the Lisbon Sussex border agreement. Once the documents from the engineer are together, they'll be sent to Sussex, the sanitary district, for their approvals to move forward with the amendment. I will have an opening of a bid to remove the spoiled dirt from industrial park on Lisbon Business Park East, which is requiring us to hold the special town board meeting mentioned earlier. The dirt must be removed from the Polyak Trucking Company parcel by July 4th, which is why the special meeting was needed. On June 17th, we will have bid openings for the Salt Shed and Leeds Lane. These 2 bids will be on our June 27th town board meeting. We gave out one peddler's permit. After review of our code, I'd like to change our ordinance to allow for us to recommend denial. We do not have that as a possibility in our code. I'll run a ordinance past the town attorney and bring to the next town board meeting for consideration. That's my report.
Anything from the board to administrator?
Just have just a quick question about all the yellow ones that it says it needs a waiting update. Are you working on that as far as especially the one that's on Town Line Road, I thought that was going to be sold. And we're still waiting for that reasonable rate that the attorney gave her.
Right. right,
Any
we are.
updates on that at all?
I do not. I don't have any updates that aren't on here.
Hmm.
But I will look into it.
Yeah, Riverview, Good Hope, all of them, Wooded Hills, Urban Place. Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Paul.
No, thank you.
Now we'll move on to item 8, incorporation.
So the only thing I have for the incorporation is July 20th from 4 to 6 will be our incorporation public hearing. It'll be at the community room at the fire department.
Say that again?
July 20th, 4 to 6 will be the public hearing. We'll
And you
have
want
it
all
on
of us
our
there?
Agendas as we,
You want all of us there?
we will put a potential quorum,
Okay,
but Stan will be doing most of the talking,
okay,
or our
thank you.
planner.
Okay,
And then I have a meeting set up to discuss with our attorney the charter ordinance process procedure, how we want to go about that. That's it.
Any of the board? Moving on, Lisbon economic conditions update.
I do not have anything.
I would direct anyone to the Wisconsin Towns Association. If you don't have a subscription, you can ask one of us, we all have it. But it's a good illustration from the executive director of WTA. We talked about levy limits as compared to CPI and new construction. Just a good review of the last 11, 12 years of how levy limits have been comparing to construction cost index in Wisconsin and also CPI. So those of you that are numbers people, I would recommend checking it out.
okay.
What else? Anything for Lisbon economic? Right, number 10, supervisor reports.
I have nothing. Our meeting is this Wednesday night. I have something for next month, the next meeting.
Oh,
Nothing at this time.
Item number 11, plan commission referrals. Item A, discussion and necessary action to approve rezone of N94W23611 Hermitage Drive from an A3 agricultural to an R2 residential, specifically excluding UC and C1 zoning.
This has been approved by the town, by the plan commission unanimously.
Just a note, on May 5th, 2022, the meeting of the planning commission was public hearing for the rezone. It was adjourned and a certified survey map request was tabled to June 2nd, which that time is. Questions on that? Looking for a motion to approve.
Drive from A3 agricultural to R2 residential, specifically excluding upper corridor and C1 zone with land.
Motion made by Becky. Second.
I second.
Bill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor, say
Aye.
aye. Any opposed? Motion carried. Item B, discuss and necessary action to approve proposed tax amendments to sections 3, C1 of the town of Lisbon zoning code related to site regulation.
So this was also part of Swanson's request. There were 4 items that were part of his request. 2 of those items were text amendments. This item in particular will allow for an accessory building to remain on a property when it's existing and the property is being split. Without this text amendment, a the accessory building would have had to have been torn down because you cannot have an accessory building without a principal use. This does allow it under certain specific circumstances. And this is something that the town attorney and planner drafted together. And it was passed unanimously by the planning commission.
Looks like there's the staff recommendation, page 3, looks like there's subject to following conditions.
Yes, it is subject to approval by Waukesha County.
The applicant has to submit a letter of credit for 115% of the removal of the building if that person does not follow through and build their home.
Any questions for staff on the text amendments? Do we have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion to approve the proposed amendment to section 3, parent C, parent 1 of the common zoning code related to site regulation.
I second.
Motion made by Supervisor Poltecker, seconded by Hill. We can make that subject to the commission report.
Yes.
Yes, please.
Motion, motion number 1. you okay with it?
Yes, me too.
There's 2 conditions listed on each part.
Yes,
Second, okay with that?
yes.
Any other discussion? I have a question. Okay, any discussion? It's got to stay at the board level up here. We would, if you did have a question, we would have went back to section 3. Just for future reference. Yeah.
Mm-mm.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Moving on to number C, the letter C, discussion and necessary action regarding proposed text amendment to section 3I 5B of the zoning code related to area regulations of accessory.
So at the plan commission meeting, they moved to recommend denial of this text amendment. They want to do more research on what the proper building size on the proper lots on the acreage. So it was done by, our planner did it by increments, and they want to make sure that the increments are right. So we would come back with a new one.
All right, is there a discussion? All right, anyone have a motion to deny?
Make a motion that we deny the proposed text amendment to section 3, parent 1, parent I, parent 5, parent B of the town of Lisbon zoning code related to area regulations for accessory buildings.
I'll second that. Motion made by Poltecker, seconded by me. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye. I have a quick question. Oh, okay, sorry.
Motion carries 4.
I have a quick question. On the first one, on the second one, we made a contingent upon the, to getting this done here. We didn't do that on the first one, Mark, unless I missed something.
So this one is a text amendment for anybody, and we'll make this in our code.
Okay, okay,
The first thing that you approved was specific to that applicant.
okay. I just want to make sure. Okay. All right, thank you.
Moving on to 11G, discussion and necessary action to approve 2 lots CSM for Drexel Building Supply for parcel along Plainville Road, LSBT 0287.998.006, with any waivers as may be necessary.
So the plan commission approved this on June 2nd with conditions as stated in the staff report.
Looks like there's 12 of them.
Four
Running from
conditions.
page 3 to 4.
Yes. No, CSM. No, that's page 4, just 1, 2, and 3 is for the certified surveyman. So it's page 4, under certified survey map. There are 3 conditions of approval. The other portion is for a site plan of operation.
There are also engineer comments located on the draft CSM that you have in your packets as well. Those are noted in red.
So there's no-
Yeah, they're just notes.
We have a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve two lot CFN for Drexel Building Supplies, for parcel along the Plainville Road, LSDT 0287998006, with any waivers as may be necessary, and including the comments by the planner and the engineer.
Second.
I'll second.
And then we'll call. Here in discussion. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. Thank you. 11E, discussion, necessary action regarding possible termination pursuant to chapter 11, section 4G1, the conditional use permit issued to Condon Properties Limited Partnership for a communications tower located on the property known as LSBT 0257.071. Note that termination on 6.2.
That's correct. Recommendation by the plan commission to decline the termination. After review with attorneys, it was not, the plan commission made the determination not to move forward with.
Yes, there was a lot of discussion on this. Becky. Anyone else have any other comments? Looking for a motion.
Okay, I'll make a motion to deny possible termination pursuant to chapter 11, section 4, parent 1, parent G1 of a conditional use permit issued to Condon Properties Limited Partnership for a communications tower located on the property known as LSBT 0257.071.
Motion made by Becky. A second,
I second.
seconded by Bill. Any discussion?
So it's my understanding they can only renew this one more time. Is that correct?
That's correct.
And it's for a 5-year period.
All in favor of the motion, say aye.
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 Opposed? Motion carries 4. 11F, discussion and action to approve final plat for Bark River Preserve, approved at 6.2.
The plan commission approved the final plat as it was presented with six recommendations or conditions for approval. And it was a unanimous vote.
And I make a motion to approve the final plat for the Barker Reserve with 6 conditions presented in the staff review.
I second.
Motion by Moon, seconded by Beal. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Move on to new business. 12A. Discussion and necessary action to award a bid for 2022 crack ceiling project.
So in front of you, you have a letter from our engineer on the crack ceiling. We also have our Public Works Director here, if you have any questions specific to the roads. The request is for the $77,800 bid for Thunder Road.
Yeah, a little background. We had Farner do it for many years. They've done a great job. Thunder Road, obviously, as you can see, just snuck in there. But Kathy and both Mitch have worked with Thunder Road in the past and have no complaints, so may as well let them give it a shot, and it kind of keeps everybody honest, and we'll see how they do, and we'll go from there going forward.
We ask for your approval.
Any questions for?
And when would this begin again?
You know, you're just put on the
Some-
schedule this summer. It'll be before probably October, I would say.
Mhm. Is this what you anticipated for the amount? Because I know that everything is so up so high.
Yeah, we budget $100,000 a year for this, so
Okay.
on average, we were in the 60s last year, 70s, so you know, it's always in that ballpark, so I wasn't shocked.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Did Thunder Road bid on this?
Yep, so we put it out to bid, so we, go through the proper channels and have them get it off Quest or whatever, and yeah, Thunder Road and Farner were the only ones that pull plans, and generally, since I've been in this position, Thunder Road and Farner have been always the two to bid, and then you get some other oddballs once in a while, but they've been the two that have always bid.
And you're pleased
Well-
with their work and, yeah,
Paul, on the
Yep.
backside is the bids. the
Thank
bid
you.
doc.
Yeah.
look over, yeah.
Yeah, like I said, I personally never worked with them, but Kathy and engineer Mitch both are comfortable with them, and I said, yeah, it's fine with us.
Good.
And they've, give them credit, they've been trying to get a job here for a while, so more power to them, they got a better price, so. They've been in business for a while, they're obviously doing something right.
I did have a question. Is there, so we itemized 24 different crack ceiling projects within this one.
Mhm.
Is there anything that's hanging out for next year that we could?
So how I usually operate this is I get through winter, because that's when we see our cracks, it's freeze thaws kind of pop up. Obviously, I can see at the end of a year, maybe there's something in my head. I'm like, oh, I want to remember that for next year. But for the most part, I just do a sweep in March, April, put this list together, work with Mitch, and we have it sent out. So sitting here now, I can't really say like I have something planned for next year, because this is kind of a fluid thing that changes every year. It's not like a road thing where we can think 5 years down, where we kind of think that road's going to be close to being replaced. This is something to me that due to beautiful freezing and thawing, it changes yearly. So that's
I was just thinking along the lines of ARPA expenditures.
okay.
If there's any way we could fill that.
I see. What I do have some plans to come back for possibly a little crack seal or a chip seal project, some GSB 88, which is some rejuvenators to some, one is our DPW lock, because that asphalt's only, 4 years old. So to preserve that and keep it going, and we never have to hopefully replace that for a long time. So I have some plans for that money. I just don't have it ready now. We need to see where this came in first. And yeah, but I'm kind of an aggressive crack filler. If you go to seminars and learn about roads, you'll be, when the water goes in that crack, that's what ruins it. So the more we can crack fill, the better we can preserve these roads. So
I'll make a motion to approve Thunder Road base bid for the amount of $77,800.07.
I'll second.
Motion made by Moonen, seconded by Quinn. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye,
Aye.
Opposed?
thank you,
Motion
Joe.
carries
Thank you.
4-0. Item 12B, discussion and necessary action regarding the request by Eileen. I was just gonna say that. For an extension to meet non-compliance order for repair issued on 5/6/2022 for the property located at N53 West 238-19 Building Place. Kathy, did you work on this one?
Elisa did. Town Hall received a complaint regarding a garage in disrepair. Inspector Oldhaven did conduct a site visit and did observe a violation of town ordinance and sent a non-compliance letter on 5/6, giving 30 days to rectify the issue. The resident did contact Town Hall the week of June 1st, asking how to request an extension to the compliance order because she was looking at having her garage redone anyways. And she did patch the hole in the roof temporarily. Building inspector did a follow-up site visit on June 7th and confirmed that it had been temporarily repaired. And the resident is here to answer any questions from the board.
Any questions?
Yes,
Of the-
yes.
of the homeowner? Or you can stand up to the podium. Just please state your name and your address.
My name is Eileen Nejeda. My address is N53W23819 Irvin Place, Sussex, or Lisbon.
Okay. Have you started getting bids for the garage?
Yeah, I contacted 3 companies. I talked to 2. They haven't sent people out yet. The third one came out today. They gave me an estimate today.
So you just started, you didn't, start right away, you just,
Yeah, my kids had COVID for a while, so that put things off for a little bit.
Okay.
And then I didn't get the letter right away either. unfortunately.
and how much of an extension are you requesting?
Considering how long things are taking, I was asking till probably the fall sometime.
So it'd be best if you recommend a date to the board. so we can-
An exact date? Well, this company that I talked to today said that if we were tearing down the existing, they could put in a new driveway, because I'm looking at doing that too, and things in August, but they probably wouldn't be able to build it until probably October.
Did they give you a date? April?
Not an exact date. They wouldn't give me an exact date until I actually purchased. And I told them I was still looking for other estimates.
I guess I would feel more comfortable if we had a date that you've already signed with someone, that when they're going to be doing it, rather than leaving it open-ended myself.
Can I ask for a month extension to do that then, or?
We'd have to decide here. But see what everyone says.
So if you don't mind me jumping in, we could give her you could give her the 30 days and then come back at the last town or at the last town board meeting in July with evidence that she has hired somebody to do the work.
That's
And
just what I'm
then you
talking
can make
about.
the decision there
Mhm,
on how much time you're going to give her to actually get the
mhm.
garage.
Okay.
If
That's
you'd like.
perfect, myself.
So what do we need? What about the first? Would be July 11th.
You could do that. I don't know. Today's 13.
June. How's the work go? About the second meeting. in
Which would be the 25th of July.
July.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
I'm good with that.
Yep.
Yes, that should. Thank you.
All right,
Do you want me to make a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve an extension request for the property at N53W23819 Irving Place. So
Hello,
date of July 25th.
I second.
Motion made by Newman, seconded by Beal.
Is that to return with contracts and a
Yes.
request for a secondary extension?
Mhm.
As stated, motion's okay with that second.
Yes,
And any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
I,
Opposed? Motion carries 4-0. We just concluded 12B. I will relinquish the chair. I will keep- you wanna be- Yes. Chairman is present and we now have 5 board members. 12C, discussion and necessary action regarding extension to offer to purchase for TDC Lisbon LLC.
Okay, so you remember TDC has offered to purchase our 24 acres in Lisbon Business Park East. And they had time to get if they gave us a $5,000 extension, they couldn't, it was written in our letter of approval for our offer that they would be able to, I'm just trying to find my paperwork, sorry. They would be able to put down another $5,000 in escrow and would have the ability to extend to July 19th. They've done that and extended to July 19th, but have found that they're not going to be able to close until August 2nd. And they're offering the board, if you so choose to accept them putting down another $5,000 in escrow to extend to August 2nd closing date. I sent the agreement, it's a one-page agreement, to the attorney and received it right before the meeting. And he gave us I just need to make sure that the board is willing to allow the due diligence period to be and the closing to be done by August 2nd. With the approval would be with the administrator and the town attorney to work out the final details.
Do they have a scheduled closing? Or is that just?
I believe when I talked to him, he said we would be able to close on August 2nd. Is it scheduled? I didn't get anything from the title company at this point.
How do I feel about the increased escrow? What do we have down now? 5?
We have 15,000 down now. With this 5 would be 20,000.
when were they supposed to generally close again? Because we have given them an extension before.
So we gave them the extension to July 19th. So they
Right.
were, their original was, so they asked for it May 26th, and they didn't need to give it as quickly as they did, but I think they were supposed to, the first week in July was the tentative date. And so for the extra 2 weeks, we asked for the $5,000 to be put in escrow. And then they're asking if we could do the same thing for the next till August 2nd with them putting another 5,000 in escrow.
That's not an extra 5,000 in the town's hands, it's just putting down more earnest money, correct?
That's correct. Just to prove that they are. No, that's, yeah,
I think we keep it.
we keep the escrow. Right. We keep escrow money if it falls through at this point.
So that's 20,000 reasons to make sure it's gonna happen properly.
And it's moving, but the tenant is just a bigger company and they move a little slower than what they were hoping. So They've
So they're
already
close
gone
to-
through plan commission, got the approvals, they're all ready to go. We're just waiting for them to sign on. Sign with TDC.
Is there any major downside for us in that?
Fine. Let me- Somebody else.
True. That would be a downside. Yeah. And interest that would, the only downside would be the interest we pay for the other month. We'll be talking about
How much is that?
that interest.
Mhm.
I don't know.
Could we turn around and charge them for what it's costing us extra?
Yeah.
It's just a shame it costs us money. I don't,
Yeah.
And I think we're gonna talk about this a little bit later. I think it's.
Okay.
We are
Okay.
gonna talk about the payoff and such.
okay. No.
I'll make a motion to approve an extension to August 2nd on the offer to purchase for PDC. Motion made by Moon, seconded by Chairman. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Hi.
Motion carries 5. It's the first 5. Look at that.
God.
12D, discussion necessary action regarding requests for signage at Community Park.
So as you heard from, that we have in your packet, information on, we talked a little bit about ARPA paying for, possibly paying for 2 park signs. When we discussed it at the last board meeting, you wanted to see the sign where it was going to be placed. I have in your packet where it's going to be placed, what the sign looks like. Ed had suggested maybe changing, or Becky had suggested maybe changing, instead of in memory of John to in honor of, and or dedicated to. And so in your packet, I've got a request for consideration. The cost of the John Brighton sign is $2,075. The park sign is about $6,000. That's what it's a regular park sign that we put in at all of our parks. You have 3 possibilities: approve with funding from the ARPA money, approve with private funding, and you heard Ed say that he's received pledges for $3,000 of the $8,075. We could, or you could place them in the 2023 budget as part of the LCP infrastructure project, or you could split them. There's a fundraising going on for John, a golf outing in October. That's another area of possible funds for the John Brighton sign. Right now, they've already collected enough money for John's sign.
I had a question. Is either sign?
I don't believe so. Come on up.
Do I need to restate my name and address, I believe?
No.
No. You unfortunately all know who I am.
We know who you are.
In answer to that question, no. They will not be lighted. Okay. Like members of the board and like myself personally, I am amazed at the cost of signage. Of course, these are made out of recyclable materials. They will easily outlast me. The sign that's right out front of Town Hall, Jane Stadler's sign, and the signage we have put in place, or I'm sorry, the board has put in place. Thank you for the funding. is going to last a lot longer than the signs we would have put in our parks, let's say in the 70s, 80s, and even through the 1990s, because they in most cases were wood. This is not someone else's money. This is money that's donated. As I mentioned to the board, I'm looking for or pursuing other avenues for further contributions. But again, I am amazed at the cost, but the sign that directs people to Community Park off of Lake 5 Road has been there for decades and is very inadequate and is basically worn out. It's sun bleached, etc. The new sign will go on that would be, the west side of Lake 5 Road, and will have obviously arrows that direct people as people are coming either down the hill heading north or heading up Lake 5 towards Silver Spring, which of course would be going south. So
currently you have already funding for the Brighton sign. We do put in a budget item for a new sign for each of our parks until we get through them of $6,000. We do have a sign going in for Stone Family this year, which will take up the sign budget. And since we're doing the new play center, it made sense to do that.
When you talked about lights, were you referring like the electrical lights, or were you referring like solar lights? Were you referring to sometimes when you come down the road and it's dark, it can light up, a sign can light up with your headlights?
Yeah, I was thinking solar lights, 24 hours a day.
Yeah.
Technology's come a long way with solar lights.
yeah.
I just think it would prevent vandalism or, the face of it. It's lit up.
Are you talking for both signs then?
I mean, not so much the one on Lake 5, because the park was filled with that.
But John's sign, maybe even Jane's sign. Mhm.
Yeah, to my knowledge, our signage in community parks, and in most of our parks are not lighted. And no, I should not close the door on lighting, obviously. On my answer, it was not in our discussion on the park committee, we had not talked about lighting signs. Okay, that could possibly be a future consideration. And yes, solar, I mean, we see this all the time, and technology or the engineering with solar has increased exponentially even over the last 10 years. So it's could always be in the offering. Right now, we're trying to get the signs,
Mhm.
which obviously as I said, John Greaton, except for possibly a change in wording, is excuse me, is in your packet. The other sign is still Mike Lund, is waiting to receive that proposal and that sign.
Who drew up this sign again? I'm sorry.
Linda, I do not personally know the name of the company. I know that Mike, if you wanted that information, Mike could provide that to you.
Okay.
All
So
right.
this sign placement's gonna be on the drive-in to the east side of the driveway. At the playground.
Yeah, as you go in on Bartlett Way into Community Park, it would be on the right side where that fountain is, and we have a little pergola there, and it's near the playground equipment. Yes.
You can kind of see it.
Yeah, so I had in my mind, I don't think we should separate this from the LCP infrastructure project, only because this memorial is lighted by electricity.
Mm-hmm.
I think we could bring in John's sign into the LCP infrastructure project for next year. That way we just keep it all together. Not that, I think the only drawback to that would be that it couldn't be effective. But I think we could maybe do more at that time as part of the bigger project than just thinking that we have $3,000 and trying to get $6,000. It could be, this sign could be incorporated into the whole project. It could be more than just the sign. garden or something more in that sense. The lighting could be incorporated. But again, my only thought of drawback would be that it would just take a little bit.
By the way, the signage, thank you, Bill, is the firm, it's Judy Welsh, WELCH Signs. And apparently the office is located in Pewaukee.
And they are willing to hold they were willing to hold the price for the sign for us for this one.
The next park board meeting is next week. Obviously, you have Community Fest coming up. So our next park board meeting is next Monday. I can certainly bring this up to the committee and see, what are their feelings on, if I'm hearing correctly, delaying the putting in the John Grayton sign, but moving ahead with the signage on Lake 5.
One respect, I hate that the way down. Hopefully the sign.
Understood? So do I,
We can
realistically.
improve if we can put some lighting.
But it's not just gonna be solar lights though
Well,
there.
no, I guess if we put more concept into it, I think if we have the LCP infrastructure project, so that we brought into it. Like true electricity, like we have out in this one.
I know, but where would it come from there? It's there?
There are, Linda, there are lights that run along Bartlett Road. Now, where the exact conduit is, obviously the Spirit Underground. Ed Nelson is not an engineer, I don't know. Right, yes, there is. So there's a pump in there. So there has to be wiring in there
Oh,
somewhere,
I gotcha,
okay?
I gotcha.
So it might be easier than we think that the wiring is somewhere that obviously the pump is it's pumping water up because obviously it's a little waterfall.
Hmm.
So hence the pump, I'm assuming, is sitting at the base of that structure and pumping it uphill.
I hate to sound
Okay.
stupid, but when they do the sign, do they have to construct the sign for electricity per se? Or can you just order the sign now? Just a thought.
I mean, I guess this one is a proposed. Material.
It would be recycled, a resin. Yeah, it's not wood. Would be a lot like a recycled plastic material that is going to, again, last. I don't know. I don't want to, fall over a cliff here and say, oh, it's going to be guaranteed for 50 years. Honestly, I don't know. Joe, do you know? The time out on these signs? Okay. I would, in terms of what I've been asking, when I ask people to commit or to donate money, I would say the first priority would be the sign for John Grayton. I'm over my 3 minutes, I'm sure. Okay,
Me too. Me too.
yeah. I'm in agreement with that because obviously that stands as a memorial and a memory to that man
And I
and to
like
what
the
he did.
dedicated on there rather than in memory of. Dedicated to.
Joe, I don't know. Right, no.
Or, again, I hate to delay, but another thought I had was, is there any schedule for this?
There is not, but
It
after
should
the
be.
sign, I mean, certainly when the sign would go in, I would think that that would be a very proper thing to do. It's
Mhm.
too bad that Mike couldn't have been here. Well, he's not here tonight. He will be, now here's a plug for Community Fest. He will be at Community Fest. After that, I believe he is going on vacation. So those direct questions, if you can attend, he'll be there.
Right, yeah, we have to leave it for the discussion.
Yeah, understood. Just so it's understood, my responsibility or my role in this has been to ask contributors to donate money to the signage. And I mentioned what the signs were for, but I did not have specific dates as to when the signs would be put into place. As I said, it's been a month, maybe longer, since Welsh Signs was contacted on the sign on Lake 5. And Mike has gotten a rough sketch, which he emailed to me, but again, I would emphasize it's a rough sketch. So I don't want to, so here's, because it's still open to discussion.
If we need to do something, I could get it moving. No. Yeah.
Possible funding, approved with funding from ARPA, approved with private funding, or place it in the 23 budget for the infrastructure project. Unless you have some other funding source that you'd like to do, but we could order the John General Fund. $3,000.
Yes, I received commitments today of 3K.
You think you can get more that you haven't tapped
It's
yet?
only a $2,075.
Linda,
It's
shame
already
on you.
covered. That's
It
covered
does.
John's sign.
Yes,
So we could, if you so choose, we could use donated funds to pay for the sign, move forward on
John's.
purchasing and having it created. But we can talk to Mike on timing, on placement.
yeah. Yeah, and Mr. Chairman, for the end, just for the record again, the two entities that I've contacted 4, and 2 have come through. One is Genesee and one is Lennon Stone. And the understanding between myself and those parties was that the monies they are donating could be used for either side. They understand that. So, so far we have enough money once it comes in. I never count those chickens until the check is right past that door. We should have enough committed as of this evening to cover Mr. Greaton's sign.
Essentially, that's where the donations are going to go. We don't have a Parks Foundation, so they're going to go in general fund.
They have I believe they have a donation. We do have a donation account.
And that's where the
So we-
$3,000 goes?
We would pull from general fund and that would just.
Um,
I don't know either.
I don't know that off the top of my head, but
Lighting is in that, right? I mean,
No.
you're sign and you put the lights wherever you want. You're not gonna come with the lighting in that. This lady doesn't do the sign. These are sandblasted foam fiber, signs.
right.
Yeah,
Yes,
I'm gonna tell you, I got one at my house that I put on a flag that was on Amazon for $20, and this thing is impressing me. It's had snowstorms and everything. It's like 2 years. It's $20. I'm just saying, I'm telling you, this thing will light that sign. Slam dunk, cheap and easy. If you just wanted an entry level, see what it's all about.
Yeah.
So Mike also said, texting is a beautiful thing. Stone family, when he ordered the sign, was 1 month out. Now, if he hasn't received a cost estimate, I guess, on the LCP sign, we gotta get that first, but say, I guess approval, you're looking at a month-ish to get the sign. So you have it up in some.
thanks, Joe.
Right.
No,
You can do that. So the motion to approve the purchase of John Greaton sign with a cost not to exceed $2,075 funded by the general fund. Okay.
With the understanding it's coming from that private funding.
You got $3,000 fund.
I like that.
You would choose second, and I can tell you how.
I'm just talking about just for the John Creighton sign for now, just to get that in and gone and done.
Well, the big sign, the one that's gonna be, the park sign,
Mhm.
is $6,000, correct?
Right.
Correct.
So the 3,000 doesn't even cover all that. So either way, if we're gonna put funding in it, I would pay for this side. I think pay for this side and done with it, and you still gotta get another 3,000 for the other side.
We have 3,800 in the sign budget for parks and 36, I want to say that's Stone Family sign, 33, somewhere in that ballpark. So you're gonna be left with a few $100 once that's done.
I'm in favor of that.
We're just looking for John's on it. I'll make a motion to approve the sign in honor of John Whiten. Cost not to exceed $2,075 for demo time. Made by Moon, seconded. Any discussion?
Mm-mm.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Members of the board, very good team. Thank you, Joe. Got my left, got my back, got my right.
Thank you for your hard work.
No, for those of you that are here this evening, I still believe that very few people understand the effort, responsibilities, and professionalism that has to go into representing government and working within town, villages, cities. It doesn't matter if we were the city of Milwaukee and or we were the town of Lisbon. The time and commitment is incredible. And you deserve a lot of credit, just as we followed this discussion on signage. And I apologize if possibly some of my questions were not thorough enough because I don't know. And I am the type of person, if I don't know, I will say, I don't know. But thank you for passing that. I really, just as I am getting to know our new park superintendent, I admired our past superintendent. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Moving on to item 12E, discussion and necessary action regarding resolution for TIF reimbursement.
So in front of you, you have a resolution to allow for us to, if you remember, we had a bid for the, to finish the loop, water loop, and connect it to Hamilton High School. That's one bid that went out. You approved it. It's going to start in June. And to make sure that we get reimbursed from future bond, we want to make sure that that we do this resolution. This was a suggestion by John Cameron, from Ellers, said that we needed to do this to make sure that we can get all of our bonding tax-free. So it was his suggestion. We put the amount not to exceed $2,700,000. That is an amount to include not only the loop, but estimated Leeds Lane, the spoil pile on the commercial side, and the electric and gas to be put in. So that's what it all, that $2,700,000 was an estimate until we get bids in.
What's the resolution number?
It's a resolution. It's 14. Resolution 14.
Didn't we talk originally about that someone would come in and clear that because they wanted some of that dirt and all that stuff?
We do on the commercial side, or on the industrial side, what we did was they separated the, then they made a spoil pile, a pile of junk like asphalt
Right.
and such. This is, this would include the asphalt and stuff, that pile to be removed.
So the other stuff is gone?
The other stuff, no, that's what we're
well,
gonna be talking about
spoil-
next
okay.
on Wednesday.
Okay, got it.
It's the
Thank you.
spoil pile, and that's why we need to get it off of Polyax and then also off of the lot for Mr. Forrest.
Okay, thank you.
Do you have a motion to approve resolution 14 of 2022?
Moved.
So moved by Chairman. Second,
Second.
second by Peel. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries 5. 12F, discussion and necessary action to approve alcohol licenses for 7/1/2022 through 6/30/2023. Licensure. So by combination class B for Tamara Wolfgram of Songbird Hills, State Road 164. Michael Lehman, Ironwood Golf Course, Marine Drive. We're just gonna take these all together.
Yep.
Class B fermented malt beverage license to Robert Schlugga of Sherman Forest Bowman Instructors on Walnut Road. Combination Class A licenses for Daniel Rotar for Quick Trip on Silver Spring Drive. Nicholas Layan for Quick Trip on State Road 164. Rakesh Patel for Rindy Sabine County Line McClure on County Q. And Anthony Hawks for Casey's General Store on Silver Spring Drive.
Move to approve.
Move to approve by the chairman. A second,
I'll second.
second by Quinn. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Motion carries 5. 13, unfinished business, discussion and necessary action regarding potential American Rescue Plan Act ARPA expenditures.
So at the last town board meeting, we went through a list of that was put together by all the department heads. And you came up with some that you were okay with the expenditure. One being the additional cost that was needed for the salt shed of $60,000. The $15,000 to match a donation for a basketball court in Lisbon Oaks Park. $30,000 match for the baseball diamond expanded in Memorial Park. And then you also spoke about a salary increase of 3% for those employees that worked during COVID between March 20th and May 21st, retroactive to January 22. And I have $50,000, but you did ask me to do some research on that. And I did review the retroactive would be $18,088.93. The moving forward, the full amount came to $43,371.43. But if anybody does overtime during this year, or our POCs do more than what was expected, I think the 50,000 would cover that 3% moving forward for this year.
So the 18 plus 43 or? the
No.
18 and 43?
With the 43 includes the 18. So you also spoke, other than this request for consideration, we also spoke about roads, and we will. And in that, you had asked that our director come back and tell us what the road ratings were for each of those roads. So he is here to discuss that. Hazer ratings.
Fire away if you want, otherwise I can talk a little.
I guess just rehash pacer ratings on the scale. of it.
Okay, so pacer ratings are read biannually every 2 years. We have Conkle Engineering taking care of that for us. I have gone to some classes myself over the years, so it's based on a 0 through 10 scale, 10 being the best. And I think really with paved roads, you're looking more like 3 to 10. I think gravel roads are on that 0, 1, 2, so we don't even see that here really. But so obviously you go out, you just inspect it with the cracks, the alligatoring. 10 times fast, where you have the chunk sitting there, you know, looking like it's gonna just start flipping out, you know, that's obviously, we knock on wood, don't have many of those roads. We fixed all those problems a few years back, but it gets there eventually, and then, you know, if your road is chip sealed, proper crack filling, blah, 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 it all goes into account. So as you can see, in 2016, prior to our $8 million borrow, we were not looking so pretty at 5.8 out of the 10. And then after the borrow, 2019, we were up to 7.1, which is really great for, you know, any municipality. And we just had a little fall off in 21, which isn't bad. Now, we did, in between 19 and 21, we had a couple more roads done. Not too many, but Plainview got resurfaced and stuff like that. But so we're still holding, but fading slightly. So, and you know, it's tough when, and I get it, I'm not life, I get it. Just how we budget for roads is a challenge a little bit, because we always come to budget time and we kind of put roads at the bottom and we see where we can end up, and then we want X amount, and we all know how much we need-ish to maintain these numbers. And then when it gets to the end, we can take a little there, and I get it, it's fine. But that's where it's tough to forecast out 5 years if we know we only have 200,000, or do we have 500 on top of the, let's say, the 700 that's in the sinking fund currently. So it just becomes tough for me when you kind of saw the forecast last time, and I brought the sheet, but I don't know if you guys have it still. But anyways, of the 5-year kind of plan of what we wanted, and it adds up, you know, a mile of road, 300 plus, you're looking at almost 400 now with prices going up. So what my plan is to put together a nice little deal with Mitch for 23. There's one, we have LRIP money of $20,000 for Lindale West East, as we call it, the one little section of Bayberry and Bayberry Court that we didn't do, just the way it worked out. By ratings wise, it didn't fit in the, you know, with other roads are worse shape, so we did those first, I'll just say. So that little section, I got LRIP money, so we have 20,000 to go towards that, not a lot, but something. And then Hillside, the roundabout's gonna get done by Washington County in 23 at Q. So I wanna tie where we stopped with our chip seal to where their roundabout is gonna end. I want to have that beefed up because it's truck central there with the trucks, so it's perfect timing. You're gonna tie it in with their project. We're gonna get the best price we're gonna ever get on it, because they're gonna be already paving the roundabout. So let's just tie that in. So those two I want to definitely do. We have money probably already in the sinking fund for that, actually. So, but it'd be awesome to maybe take on a little more. You know, more you do, the cheaper the price goes, in a sense.
So I have, I was thinking that they may have wanted to know of the roads that you had suggested that needed to be done,
Mhm.
what the ratings, what's your high and low ratings on those?
So on those roads, you're
Okay,
generally a
5.
5-6 area. I mean, we really don't have many 4s, you know, we have a lot of 9s, 8s and 9s, because those are just fading from the $8 million borrow. So they started at a 10. Yeah, 1 year they go to a 9. Thank you, Wisconsin winters, right? And so you're at 8 and 9s a lot. And then, you know, we chip sealed or we're crack filling, we can hold a 6 for a while. You know, a 6 will stay, but it's just all of a sudden they're gonna fall off. You know, you can only do that so long, and they're finally gonna be done. You know, you can crack fill the road a million times, and you know how you see it out there where you see all the black lines going everywhere. Well, the next step is those chunks that are now broken up are gonna start to flip out, you know, and just become problems.
So in front of you, I also have something from Ellers on borrowing. We talked a little bit about borrowing, and roads was an area that we borrowed for in the past. Looks like this. And I had already requested this from John prior to last meeting. It just came after the meeting, and to give us an idea of keeping the amount that we have borrowed and paid each year to be about the same throughout. And so this bond schedule has $775,000 in 23 and $1,545,000 in 24, and that was to make up the what was suggested by our director prior to last meeting. So that but I did want to bring this forward to you to see what the, so our principal and interest, if we were to borrow this money, our principal and interest would be in 23. Full amount, our first payment. Let's get it at 38.
We got the.
Nine.
total. I mean, it's-
Yeah,
We know this is what we need to borrow.
so that's, what I did was just, I took what was in consideration just to see what the rates are. We now know kind of what a rate we could possibly get and what he was estimating our cost would be. So in the,
So we'll be at 3.7.
3.7. Yeah, closing by September 1. Net interest cost
Is it high?
3.8. So it's much higher than what we would have gotten it earlier in the year.
One.
Yeah,
Yeah. If we
Those
would,
days are gone.
yeah,
But they come back.
in a couple of years, I would think so.
They gotta hit 8 or 9 first and then come back.
and again, what does
Thinking
this all
around
cover?
2024.
Roads,
Oh, the
for
roads.
a road project for a couple of years.
So it's 2.3.
Yes. 2.3.
I mean, what would that get
No.
us? For 2.3? 'Cause this is-
Probably roughly 5 miles. That'd be full reconstruct, full.
We don't need it.
Well, I mean, full depth pulverization, what we do is, what we've done now historically is, and Richfield just did a big project with there, so I've been keeping a little eye on how everything went up there, but. You go over the whole road, you pulverize the pavement full depth, so you hit the base. You leave the material on site, you grade it out, you proof roll it, if you hit soft spots, you undercut, dig it out, put big stone in, fill it back in, and then you pave over the top of that. So now our road all of a sudden grows by 5 inches, but you also gain 5 inches of base. So it saves money on trucking and hauling away all the spoil. And then it obviously builds you a stronger road. And so far, seems to have worked well. Our roads are for being 3, 4, 5 years on some of them, they're looking pretty good.
And so do we have 5 miles of road that needs to be done
Yeah.
in the
Well,
next
the
2
Blue
years?
Heron, I mean, 3 years?
I think you
I
were,
mean, I
I
could-
think you asked, because I think you asked for full subdivisions instead
Yeah.
of just a road. You wanted the whole subdivisions. And that's what I brought forward last time was his request.
Yeah, we could, in the 5-year plan I had, we're definitely over 5 miles. With Blue Heron, that's a big subdivision up here off Hillside Road, and then Mount Shadows is decent size, so. Well, I mean, I estimated, mind you, estimate 1.4 million Blue Heron and basically $1 million in Mount Shadows, so just there, you're at, say, 2.4.
I guess we have 2 questions. We were looking to solve what do we designate in the ARPA expenditures for roads, and secondly, obviously his project's gonna spoil or boil over that as far as total cost.
I would also like to just say that if we do get some direction, I'd also like to probably work with Mitch a little bit more on it. I'm not an engineer by no means. I know what roads don't look great and all that, and I feel like where we are with the ratings and all that, but I would like a little stamp of approval and work with him on it, that we can put together something a little more engineer based that, I mean, if you give me the money, I'll go fix the roads. If you want more of a,
So we did have plans years, I mean, not full on plans, but I mean, we had comfortable through and do a study what it would take to maintain our roads.
correct, we
the
were at
current
what,
condition.
500,000-600,000 a year, I think is that
650.
magic number, okay, 650. Yeah.
So it used to be a different system. It used to be 7 was the top.
Okay, you mean the rating wise?
Yeah,
Okay,
the old
That-
system was 7.
gotcha,
So that's what I was always used to.
sure.
So now it's 10.
Mhm.
Because one, it was the phaser and the Whistler. and they
Yeah,
both did the
Whistler
same.
is still, live. They use the Pacer rating system, but
Pacer.
you put it all in the Whistler database. So I can
And there
go
was
on there.
phaser too, wasn't there?
That might have been before me. That one don't ring a bell, but ever since I've been here, it's been Pacer rating system in the Whistler. So we can log on right now, really
Maybe
neat,
it was Pacer, but-
and get all the, oh yeah, right now I can go on there, we could do an average. That's how I got a lot of this stuff.
Years ago, we had to decide what did we want to be the base standard for our roads.
Mhm.
Like, this is our standard, this is what we need to stick to, and this is what it costs to maintain that. So with this 1 to 10, I think we gotta decide what we want that to be. Like, do we want it to be a 5 or a 6?
Mhm.
And back when it was a 7, we had said 5 to 6 average, but now it's a 10. And it's at a 7, but
Yeah, and I, just thinking here, it'd be interesting to see what neighboring communities average out to be, you know, just not, we want to be better than them, right? So I mean, we don't want to be like them, but I just would be curious where the Mertens of the world, the Sussexes, the Richfields, the Menominee Falls, are they averaging a 5 and 6 and they're happy, or are they 7? They're not 8s. I mean, I drive on these roads, they're not. but-
Richfield was, we did know.
Yeah,
what they were
Richfield's
back then, and
struggling.
They were a full 1.5, 2 points below what we were.
Yeah, they
Even-
borrowed some money, that's why they just did a $2 to $3 million job, because they did what we did, they saw we did, they liked it, so they borrowed money to do what they could do this year.
We just never built our funds up to do the 650 because we
Mhm.
were spoiled and interest rates were nothing.
Yeah,
Well, those days are now done.
So what are we putting into the sinking fund this year? It's not 650.
No,
no, it was
Actually gone
200
down.
area, yeah.
200.
We
Usually
try to get
390.
3, but it usually trickles into the
Into
2 and a
2
quarter,
something.
250.
It was
area.
almost, at one time, it was almost 400 with crack sealing. And
Yeah, well, you still, that's separate, the 100,000. So
But I mean, if
add
you use all
into it.
that,
Correct,
what is it if you would combine? it
you're
all?
probably 350 then, yeah. with
So I
the
mean, it's
crack
actually
seal.
gone down,
Yeah,
which is exactly the wrong way.
So even if we put 300 of ARPA into it, we're still gonna be short of our goal.
we were short of our, I mean, it's a step in the right direction. I don't know, I mean, you know, we were short the last couple of years, so it's not like,
But that's all
Something.
added up.
oh yeah. it's
So now instead of,
snowballing.
so
Right.
in 2017, if we had done the
Sure.
650 and the 650 and the 650 and the
Mhm.
650.
Yeah.
We'd be paying for this. We'd be writing a check.
Yeah, right.
But last year, or the year before, we used all that money to buy stuff. Buy equipment.
And there's chip seal, you know, when a road gets to towards the end of its life, middle, we'll say, of its life expectancy, you'd love to throw a chip seal on it, you know, and on average, a mile, this was last year's numbers, I don't think it went up too much, you're looking at about $30,000 a mile to chip seal a road. Now, I don't mind doing that on our main artillery roads, or like 5s or hillsides or plain views. Problem is you get into subdivisions and they are a disaster. They're just messy. Okay, you're putting a stone on a road that tracks on the dog's feet and the person's boots, and it's, before you know it, it's on the hardwood floor in the middle of the house, you know, and the calls come in. I'm not saying, like, Joe, doesn't matter, just chip seal the road, don't care about that, I get it, but man, I'll tell you, there were some ugly days, man, with the phone calls and all that, and I've been experimenting, and I have one this year where it's a micro seal, where they actually put a layer of asphalt on top of their rubber, I'll say oils and rubber on top of the road, and with a little bit of stone to give it traction, but it locks it all in. So it cures in a couple hours, and you drive on it, you don't track it anywhere. I like that better. Now, don't get me wrong, they sweep these roads and do all that, but you just can't get it all off. And I mean, I remember,
And that's just.
that's what, 3 years ago, they were bringing bags of the stone, you know, up here to town hall, and then we'd have to go look at it.
So, Joe, what's the rating that requires us to do pulverize and paving, and what would be the rating for just an overlay?
I'd say you're at your like 6, 7s is when you want to really start thinking of a chip seal. You know, we could do probably a 2-inch mill and overlay around a 5 or so. Or it really depends on the road. Plainview Road, we did that because it was just rough, but structurally it was still pretty sound. It was just that it was, because it was cut up for water mains and Sussex's water there over the years. So it just had so many weird cuts. The thing was just jagged and garbage. So a lot more cost effective, as you can see, that was 170, 190. So you could, you know, mill off 2 inches, they haul that away, and they come behind and put fresh 2 inches down. Now, that just to give you how that all works is when we do a full depth, you're looking at probably 3, hopefully maybe 4 if you're lucky, before you start to see the cracks come through. What happens is when you mill off 2 inches and now you put 2 inches on, more than likely one of the cracks on the existing road went full depth. That crack is still in the base that's here. So when you go over that, there's a crack still on the bottom, and when it starts to move like that, boom, it reflects through that top layer. So you're seeing that crack come back in probably a year, 2 at the most. So it's cheaper, but you also are doing maintenance a lot quicker on it. You know, it's all on how you want to do it, but it smooths the road out, it makes it look good, and
How long
it's-
is a full pulverized and pavement
you would
last?
hope to get a
We used
good,
to say 20 years.
yeah, 20 to 30 years out
And
of
a
it.
2
you would
inch
hope.
was 10.
Yeah,
Well, you did my neighborhood when I first moved in
Right.
on Thousand Oaks, 'cause I remember that.
and that's holding up well.
And all of a sudden the mailbox was like, oh, mailbox in a totally different
More
position.
at
It's
your,
like,
more
I
at
feel
your
tall.
waist than at your, yeah, the chest height. Yeah, that was one tough spot too, because when we raise the road up, you get that issue, and
But the road's in great shape.
yeah, they're
Yeah.
holding up well, and that's where the crack filling, you just stay on it. You start seeing cracks, we get in there. So it's like every other year, we're gonna crack
This
fill
is a
this
much
road.
bigger discussion than this.
I guess to get us to some kind of resolution, right? Just on my math, we have a whole 645,000. The ARPA funds. I guess my question is, what are we comfortable with designating to the roads? That's all I think we have left. So is that question mark?
I don't know.
Yeah, I struggle with this one too. It's like, what does 500,000 get us? It depends what the roads.
The only thing with roads too is that we could borrow for roads. I mean, that's what you're gonna end up doing. What's gonna happen again is we're gonna end up doing a bigger borrow, get roads caught up, and then we just have to stick to that. Getting money put aside, and we just have to stick to it.
Now you
I wish
say-
we would have, because the money was cheap back then. We should have borrowed for the stuff that we used and we paid for. We should have been borrowing for that, but the debt service. And some of this was because of years, and this is like before any of us were even on the board, that these loans were coming due. We had a sewer service loan and some other things. It just added up. Some of them had balloon payments. Now we're gonna be in really good shape. And this town is in really good shape for debt service is gonna be moving forward. You got a philosophy, you borrow for it and the people are using it, pay for it as they're using it, or you pay for it ahead of time. That's what you gotta decide what you wanna do.
So one of the questions we spoke a little bit earlier about bonding and the payment of our current loan. And so right now, this year, our cost for bonding is $1,322,000. That's what our cost for bonding was this year. If we pay off that debt this year, our payment for next year would be $1,134,000. So we're gonna drop it almost 200,000. So that's why I brought up the bonding, if you wanted to take another note out or not. But, or if you really wanted to pay down that state loan this year, or if you want to wait.
It's not that Ellersville did a study and said it wasn't worth it to pay off anything.
Well, this one, they said to pay off because it's at our highest percentage, but now
Which is
with the
still lower than-
percentages going up, you might want to hold it for another year
It's-
and keep it within our budget. You
Don't
can
pay
always
off the
pay-
state trust
don't-
fund loan, but then
Hold it.
use the money we get to pay off new projects,
Right.
because the new loan rates are gonna be higher,
Well, if we wait till next year, is it only gonna go up again?
who knows?
I
I think you're gonna see
it's pretty
6,
good.
7, 8%.
Yeah, I think it's pretty good.
They'll match the gas
Yeah.
prices.
So it's just, it was another thing to think about when we're talking
good point.
about, we're gonna bring in that 800,000 and it's gonna cover our loan. We could get rid of that loan if you wanted to, or we could put the money in the bank. The 800,000 in future projects or future buildings, and then just leave it sit there, and next year, if interest rates come down, we can pay off that other one.
So what are those interest rates? 1.5 or whatever it is and 2.3? What are the
Yeah, it's
interest
gone
rates?
now. It's 3.7 is the best we can get.
No, the current ones we've got, the loans.
The highest we have is 3.5.
Which is
Okay.
our state.
I wouldn't pay off any of the low ones.
I mean,
We
why,
can't.
but why pay off any of them at this point?
It's true. You're right.
Because you can't borrow money for what we've got
No.
these for, so.
No, that's what I
If
mean.
we
Yeah,
sell, if we bring money in, let's just use it for capital projects.
yeah. Yep, I agree.
I mean, what we really need is probably a 5-year capital plan entirely. I mean, we got a town hall coming.
Mhm,
Is everybody, I mean, next 5 years,
mhm. It's coming.
3 years? We need a town hall. I mean, that's no doubt about it. You know, roads, everything else.
Now, what's one of the 1950s school?
I talked to Gabe. I was trying to sell it back to him. He wasn't going for it. School board president.
Oh,
I tried to sell it back to him.
he doesn't want it?
He does not want it. He said he gave us too good of a deal. Capital gains would be insane.
So, so we can talk again. We're not closing on that property until August, but I did want it to be, you guys to be thinking about it. I can bring in at the next board meeting more of a, here's our percentages of each of our loans. These are the loans that are going to be paid off this year and what is expected to be paid off next year. So we know what our debt service is. I did give you that, I think, yeah, I just gave that to you. I think the last one or the meeting before. So you all have it. It's just, we're discussing it today and I don't have it in front of me, so. But I did, we know we're going to be paying that off and with interest rates going up, we might not want to. That's your decision. Like, hold on to it. We can talk about that at the next meeting. We did receive our other $550,000. We have our full 2 million.
But I mean, these projects in the front page, we were all good with. Correct? Well, one maybe not, but
One maybe not.
one person wasn't good with one.
Well, I'd like to discuss it when we're at that point.
We're at that point.
Okay. I didn't know if we had a,
I guess,
isn't there
why
something?
why don't we go back through each one? and just
Yeah.
knock it out?
Okay.
60 grand was for the salt shed. I'm fine. Okay with that.
I'm for
Thank you.
it. Mhm,
15 grand was for the basketball court improvement in Lisbon Oak Park.
mhm.
30,000 of a private share for pledge for baseball diamond expansion in Memorial Park.
I'm for it.
Yes.
And the last, second last one. Increase of salaries 3% for those that worked during COVID-19 timeline, May 2020 through May 2021. With retroactive pay.
I believe it will cover even the, because it came to 43,371. With that little extra, that would be for anybody that put in overtime or our POCs did more than what was expected.
We should, I mean, we should know what a typical percentage of the increase is for overtime.
Well, we can't because our overtime was pretty high this year in our fire department due to the fact that we were down 2 personnel. So they were putting in they were putting in a lot of hours.
Right,
So
but they have a lower salary usage.
um,
Their salary cost was down. 'Cause they didn't have-
Was it low?
We were
those-
down 2
yeah,
people, so
You're
we
missing
weren't
2
paying the
people.
normal rates, but then
Right,
we were paying more in overtime.
we were paying time and a half for that.
Actually, were we lowered all then? Because technically, we're still filling the shifts.
Yeah. 2.5%, at 1.5%.
No, I don't think it's 1-for-1 though, because you're just gonna deny people benefit. Right?
Possible they did that.
And they're gonna pay out the state down there.
on their way out.
So
So I think 50,000 would cover it. If you wanted to stay with the 43,000. I would not
well, I
swap
don't
that
think we
out.
need to take it out.
Is 3% because you on the county level or the Pewaukee, I should say, got a 3% raise? Is that why you suggested 3%?
Yes. Well, that's not accurate at all.
Oh, I thought you said you got a 3% raise.
So it's a completely different thing. The county approved a retention percentage increase for market competition. So that's not even apples to apples. This is essentially an incentive and a reward for our employees coming to work every day during COVID-19. And this is an opportunity for us to reward them for that. That's why it was identified for that period.
3% covers 6 months of CPI essentially.
I mean, I think to reward them, sure. I just think 3% is excessive. I'll say it again. I can see doing something at the end of the year because he just got a 2% as of January 1st. Then you give them a 3% now.
That means the money that they got on January 1st is worth the same now.
Okay, I understand that. We're all losing, all of us, our jobs. But I'm just saying, and then a 3% now, and then a 2% next year. And I know we don't have a cost of living for them.
And we're still 2% behind what it did the last year.
I understand. I just think 3% is excessive, and I will say that again. I have no problem giving them something, but I just think this is, just because we have that money now as a resident and as a taxpayer, I would rather, give them something, but not 50,000 out of this money. We could use that for something that all residents would benefit from. And I understand that the workers work very hard, and we all do at our jobs.
They'll benefit from our staff.
And
No, you know how much they would detract if we didn't have that staff?
Human capital is the most expensive and most worthwhile
mhm.
portion of any agency, whether it's public or private.
I just think 3% is high.
That's $1,800 on a $60,000 salary, that's $1,800.
I know, that's what you said.
What do you propose then?
Well, what's wrong with, giving them a bonus at the end of this year, add to their, at the end of this year, instead of 3% now. Add on 2% at the end of this year as a bonus because of COVID. Because
So
supposedly-
our structure doesn't allow for bonuses if you were an hourly employee.
Right,
So
yeah, I
we
know,
can't
that's,
do
we
that.
can't give them like a $1,000 bonus. How many people are we affecting? Is this affecting? How many employees do we have?
Everybody,
Everybody, so it's even in the town here.
everybody that was here.
Everyone else.
Yeah, I just think it's excessive. I think 3%. I think anybody that you would talk to, sure, give them a raise or something, but 3% to me is excessive.
What's not excessive?
At the most too.
I will say that our people deserve better than what they're getting. Many, many years ago, we did give 3% raises,
I know.
and I don't think,
I don't think we're gonna get away with 2% at the end of the year. I
On
mean,
top
it's
of this,
it's not even, you're not even
Right,
paying them
it's-
what you're
I
paying them
mean,
last year at the
one
same
year
time.
I got a raise. I made $20 more a month. Now, what good does $20 more a month do?
and
Now it won't even buy milk.
and some,
If you can
some,
find it.
some years you didn't even get a raise, you said.
Yeah.
1 year we got a 1% and I would have they kept it. To me, it was a slap in the face.
Mhm.
It was not worth it, but we need to take care of our employees. We need to keep our employees. And I don't think an investment of $50,000 is a lot of money to keep our employees.
Seconded. I mean, really, Linda, I guess $60,000, I mean, I would guess that's above our median salary for the entire town. You're talking $600 a year. You're talking $50 a month. I just filled my vehicle up today. I know it's my own vehicle, but it was $130. I mean,
Not everybody, and and they're a business, as I said before, we didn't have to lay off anybody, which is wonderful. They kept their jobs. There's some people that had to be laid off. You know, and they did a wonderful job. There's a lot of people in all the walks of life have worked through this pandemic, and including all of us.
So you were lucky to keep your jobs while we kept you on the front lines of COVID with the disease that potentially could have killed you that we didn't really know. But we kept you on the front lines and you're lucky that we did that for you.
They could have done other stuff. I could have
Right.
quit my job, you know.
I think you have to look at, first of all, that we are not a business. We are a municipality. Our money comes
No matter what.
from tax bills that are paid in, we get all that money. We don't take a cut because our sales are down.
Mhm.
So we have that money. So that's why we didn't have to lay anybody off. I just think we're starting to quibble over little things again, and I respect your opinion. I don't agree with it, but
It's my one vote.
it is.
And I'll stick to
is
it.
Your opinion.
You bet
and
it
that
is.
You know,
Mhm.
I mean, I would even go higher. Just knowing what it costs to replace an employee. Workload pushed onto somebody else, overtime to cover holes. I mean, we just experienced it in the fire department. Those things sink us. I mean, if we can give back with assistance, obviously the federal government with ARPA, but going forward, yes, we're gonna have to pay for it, but it's not a huge burden. I mean, $50,000 on 10,800 and however many people is. It's not a undue burden. We're not stealing from anybody. I mean, if anything, we're giving them better value. I mean, I think you could take a blind poll of every employee in our town, and we give them 4%. Guarantee you they work harder and spend less time, you know.
So you're saying that they will work harder and they will, because we give them this bonus? Is that what you're saying?
Appreciated employees work harder.
I understand that.
When you use words, and especially in board meetings, telling them that you're lucky you had a job while COVID was going on, that is called morale killer. And
I
we are
don't
the
really-
leaders of this community, and by saying things like that, it's like you're attacking the employee,
No, I'm not attacking. I thank them
but
for
it
their,
sounds like it. It sounds like you're not valuing them at all, like, well, you had a job, be grateful.
I value every one of them.
Well, let's show them that. I'll put 4% on it right now.
I wouldn't swear, even if you take 2% we gave them last year, at the beginning of the year, you had 4%, and even another 2, let's say we gave them another 2 at the end of the year, you still haven't reached what inflation has been. We are still technically would be paying them less than a year ago.
Paula, what is your opinion?
I agree with Mark. I think that human capital is extremely important. There's a lot of subdivisions and there's a lot of building going on in this town. There's a lot of people that are going to be moving in, families are coming in. I think we want happy people that are working here that are going to be servicing the people that are coming in. We're doing a lot more commercial stuff. I think it's important to keep people happy. I mean, anybody can, a computer is a computer and a desk is a desk and a phone is a phone, but the people are really what make it work properly.
I agree with you.
And really with inflation going the way it is, and I really, my personal opinion is we haven't seen the end of it yet. And, I just think we do need to take care of the folks. I mean, and it is, not to say this is free money. I mean, I don't mean it to call it free money, but it's not coming out of, taxpayers are not paying this portion of it at least right now.
It will after this time.
They will, yeah, but I mean, for the original, the initial upfront, it won't.
Right.
So I think this is, salt shed's important, baseball
agree
diamonds
with
are
that.
important.
I agree with all
It's
that.
all important. I do agree with this. I really do. And Mark, I'm almost to your opinion. I would go 4-2 almost. I think people are important. That's how I feel about it. Sorry to make you that.
If we were overpaying these people already, it'd be one thing, but we're not. And I still think we're below the average, to be honest with you. And now we're just gonna keep falling below that average. And I really think come budget time, there's gonna be some choices, because if you look at CPI, there's no way you're doing a 2% raise for people this year. There is just no way at all. I'd rather knock some of it out now. I really would. Keep them happy, give them, I mean, show them that they're valued, and I really think that helps. We have the best people I think we've ever had. So I would really like to keep them.
All right.
I'll
well,
go
I'm
for
going to- I'm going to make a motion to approve the use of ARPA funds in the amount of $155,000 for the following expenses: new salt shed, basketball court, baseball diamond, and COVID-19 employee compensation.
A second for discussion. I would even be in favor of raising it to 4.
You what?
I'd be in favor of raising the employee 1 to 4%.
Can you do that quick?
4%.
Item 4, instead of 3, move it to 4.
I would
Or when does budget come up for salaries? I know, I probably know this, but
October.
Oh,
October.
soon.
yeah.
September.
Soon.
Yeah. You just clear your schedule. Bring a pillow. We
Too
just-
soon. We start in August usually,
Okay.
and finish hopefully in November, October. Hopefully.
I just want to verify that sign for Johnny was dedicated to, or everybody like not in memory of, we like dedicated to, right?
Mhm.
I
Dedicated
think
to
they
the
said
memory.
in honor of. Isn't that what?
He said 2 choices.
Yeah, it was.
I like
it was-
Right, but he
dedicated
needs
to.
to know.
Yeah, it was
So
given to you.
I thought that the motion was in honor, right?
I don't think we didn't
There
really,
wasn't specified a motion.
no, wasn't specified.
24 retro.
Ed and I jotted down dedicated to, that's
So
what we
look
thought
at this.
the temperature of the room was, but I'm not.
Okay,
I don't-
that's fine.
I don't care either one of
I don't
those.
care which one. I don't care which one.
I don't care
The
which
motion
one.
just covers something. Oh, okay.
Yeah. It's up to them. Let it up to whatever they want to do. The park committee, I think that's
Yeah,
it.
dedicated is fine. I mean, that's what I thought.
Or in
and then
honor of,
I
yeah.
thought too, but dedicated is
I don't
fine.
like in memory of.
Johnny will be happy.
Sean is his,
Moving back to the
Some-
ARPA discussion,
Um,
to go to your motion, it would be 60,000 for item 4, which would give you a total of 165.
Well, no, didn't you want to change it now?
I just gave you the new numbers. So
We'd have to-
item 4 would be 60,000. Grand,
Oh, okay,
grand total would be 165.
okay.
You have to amend your
So I
motion.
will change my motion to reflect that.
Second's okay.
Sounds okay. Any discussion? All in favor of 165,000?
Aye.
Aye.
I
Any opposed?
aye.
Motion carries 4-1. 14, closed session pursuant to Wisconsin statute 19.85 sub E for the purpose of deliberating and negotiating the purchasing of public properties, the investing of public funds, or conducting other specified public business whenever competitive or bargaining reasons require a closed session. More specifically regarding offer to purchase received from purchaser for vacant parcel located within Lisbon Business Park East. Do we have a motion for closed session?
So moved.
Moved by the chairman, seconded by
I'll
myself,
second.
seconded by Becky. All in favor?
Roll call.
Or roll call, please.
Chairman Osterman,
Aye.
Supervisor Moonen,
Aye.
Supervisor Beal,
Aye.
Supervisor Quinn,
Aye.
Supervisor Flotecker. Unanimous.
Unanimous, and we're going to close session.
I've got 8:26.
8:26.
Eight 56.
Motion to adjourn, chairman, seconded. I'll second it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Motion carries 5.
Out at 8:57 PM.